No, for the vast majority of users, I don't think smart toothbrushes are worth it. This is because typically you can get a very good electric toothbrush without smart features for less money. The key to getting the most from any toothbrush is knowing how to use it correctly. While smart toothbrushes can help, many of the key things you need to know and do can't be done by the toothbrush itself. They rely on you. So no matter how smart the brush is, it still relies on you taking action as you brush your teeth. You can learn and train yourself on such things for free and in a relatively short period of time. But smart toothbrushes are getting better and they can be useful for certain people. Let me explain who and why. There is a lot of tech built into electric toothbrushes today, and much of this could be considered smart, but having handled hundreds of different brushes, I consider a smart toothbrush to be one with Bluetooth connectivity that pairs to an app on a smartphone, and a brush that has features such as real-time coverage tracking and position detection. I don't consider a toothbrush with a timer, pacer or a pressure sensor to be a smart brush in most cases, albeit some pressure sensor tech is getting particularly clever. Popular examples of smart brushes you might have heard of would be the Philips Sonicare Diamond Clean Smart or Prestige models, alongside Oral-B's iO 7, 8, 9 and 10. Of course, there are far more, but these are among the most popular. I'm not here to explain all the features and which are better or worse, but having handled so many and having the pick of them all, I typically don't use a smart brush or its features that often. This is for a number of reasons, including the hassle factor and the accuracy and usefulness of some of the tracking and feedback given by these smart brushes. If I don't use them as an electric toothbrush tester, then are you likely to? Another factor is cost. Some of the more capable brushes with such features are very expensive. Yes, they start around £70 or dollars, but most are well into the hundreds. Cost and value is subjective, but even if you have more dollar bills than you know what to do with, what's the point of having a feature-rich brush if you don't use the tech? And I know I am referencing you a lot here and assuming you won't use it, but the data suggests this. I know I don't. When I surveyed our YouTube audience about 18 months ago, 67% of those who owned a smart toothbrush no longer used the Bluetooth or the app after 3 months of ownership. Given one owns a toothbrush for years, not using a key feature after 3 months doesn't seem that great. The better of the more capable models will track the position of the toothbrush in the mouth, showing the teeth you have and have not brushed. This is great as it highlights the areas for improvement so that a better job can be done in the future. But it still relies on you to do this. Many require you to have the app open or at least review the data in the app regularly. If you don't have your phone with you when you brush or you don't review the data in time, are you even going to take note of the changes needed? The brush or the app won't remind you as you begin your next brushing session where you got it wrong last time. I've yet to find the perfect smart toothbrush. The Sonicare Prestige 9900 is probably the best at the time of recording, all things considered, but it isn't perfect. Models from Oclean give feedback on the handle of the toothbrush itself, meaning you don't need to rely on the app. They do tend to extend the brushing session to encourage resolving issues identified. Oral-B and Philips brushes don't do this. But the big thing here is you, as I've already intimated. You need to brush at least twice a day for 2 minutes at a time. You need to use the correct brushing technique to cover all the tooth surfaces. You need to use a toothpaste with fluoride or nanohydroxyapatite. You need to be cleaning between the teeth with floss or interdental brushes or a water flosser if you really can't get on with the other tools. And you need to be getting regular dental checkups. No smart toothbrush can do these things for you. Perhaps they can remind or encourage, but they are not the fix. You could have the technically best toothbrush available, but it's no good if you don't use it correctly. With all this said, if you love your technology and you are really committed, you can benefit from them. They can help highlight areas for improvement, they can remind you of things, they can reward and encourage. They can be a great tool in your dental care routine if you interact with them correctly and understand their shortcomings. Too often, smart products are marketed to solve our shortcomings as users. When it comes to toothbrushing and oral care, the smart features can educate and direct, but it still relies on the person. And because I know, because I and many others have done it, you don't need them. I and the vast majority of dental professionals will attest that even a manual brush is more than adequate if you use it right. You can learn from channels like ours about good oral care habits you need in a matter of minutes, and these can be skills you quickly master and stick with you for a lifetime. I love solutions to problems, but it's a simple one in this instance, and it's basically free. It just involves a bit of patience, commitment, and a willingness to learn.